Johnny's Bar and Grill, Mexican and American cuisine with daily and weekly specials, juicy burgers, mouth-watering tacos, and more. 1519 West Highway 150 in Lincolnton.
Hello and welcome. This is the WHKY News for Friday, January 24th. I'm Ralph Mangum. The WHKY News is on over-the-air TV at 5:30 and 10 every weekday on channel 14.2, and we are also on the Compass, SkyBest, Vibrant, TDS, and Comporium cable systems. Online, we are at WHKY.com and on our YouTube channel. In today's top stories, Conover Police were involved in a shooting early this morning. At about 2:06 a.m. today, Conover Police took a call from Catawba County Communications in reference to a domestic situation at 1027 Lyle Haven Drive Northwest involving a husband and wife. The caller said her husband had approached her with a knife before leaving the residence on foot. Officers arrived on the scene and found the man in the area of Hefner Drive Northwest and County Home Road. The male subject, later identified as 45-year-old Jason Wesley Ledford of Cherryville, was armed with a knife and refused commands to drop the weapon while advancing on an officer. One officer fired at Ledford, striking him in the upper extremities. Officers took Ledford into custody, began life-saving measures, and called for EMS. Ledford was transported to Catawba Valley Medical Center and then taken to Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center with non-life-threatening injuries. In keeping with departmental policies, the officer involved in the shooting has been placed on paid administrative leave pending the outcome of the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation's findings. Catawba County Sheriff sat down with WHKY's Rob Eastwood and discussed new immigration legislation and how it affects local law enforcement.
We are joined by Catawba County Sheriff Don Brown. First of all, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to talk to us.
It's my pleasure, Rob.
It's a lot going on, and we're going to talk about some topics that have been discussed in recent days nationally, but it does affect us on a local level. We have a new presidential administration, and there have been a number of executive orders signed in these early days of the new Trump administration. The Laken-Riley Act. Tell us how this affects us on a local level, because there can be illegal individuals in every state in the country.
Well, the Laken-Riley Act, it actually requires the Department of Homeland Security to detain any illegal immigrant that commits a larceny, a robbery, a burglary, or even shoplifting. They are required to detain them until they determine what they're going to do with that individual. So it's mandated. It's not optional. It's not, well, maybe we will, maybe we won't. It is mandated that the Department of Homeland Security detain those folks. And
so would you work in conjunction with them if there was an individual who was here in Catawba County?
Absolutely. We are going to follow legislation. We're going to follow the law. We always have, and as I've said before, it's business as usual for us. It just gives us more tools to work with. Well, I can tell you, by securing the border, that is going to slow down the drug trafficking, the drugs that are coming into our country illegally. You know, you got the precursors for fentanyl coming from China to South America, and then it's turned into fentanyl, and then it comes across the border into the United States. That will slow that down considerably, which I think is going to help us tremendously with our drug trafficking, with our overdoses, and anything that goes along with that drug trade.
Don Brown, the Sheriff of Catawba County, updating us on how some of these national policies will affect us on a local level. We appreciate the Sheriff joining us here on WHKY News.
Thank you, Rob. The full conversation between Rob and Sheriff Brown can be found on the WHKY YouTube channel. WHKY's Arianna Mack has news regarding traffic patterns in Taylorsville.
Taylorsville Town Council discussed proposed traffic roundabouts at their meeting this week. According to our news partner WACB, an engineering study has been commissioned by the town to determine if one or perhaps two roundabouts could be added, including one on the west side of the courthouse. The roundabouts would be constructed by the NC Department of Transportation over a period of 2 years. No town funds would be used. Stay tuned to WHKY.com for more. I'm Arianna Mack for WHKY.
Thanks, Arianna. A friend of ours here at WHKY described the roundabout in front of our building as the Circle of Death. Today's crime report includes 2 suspects accused of assaulting a pastor in Statesville. In local sports, Jason has App State wrestling, plenty of basketball, and some Lenorine lacrosse. And in community focus today, the Salvation Army marks a major milestone, and we'll learn more about Alexander County's rebranding initiative. Still chilly outside, but not nearly as brutal as it was for a good bit of the week, as our highs today made it into the low 40s under partly cloudy skies, upper 40s tomorrow, and then in the 50s through Tuesday before reaching the low 60s on Wednesday. Back in the 50s later in the week before dropping back down into the 40s a week from tomorrow. Saturday next weekend is also our best chance of rain. That's about a 50-50 chance. You can always find the latest forecast at WHKY.com. I'm Ralph Mangum. You're watching the WHKY News.